Why, hello and welcome everybody. It is Pohx again. So today I'm going to go ahead and release a video that I've been kind of waiting and really contemplating heavily before releasing. And this video is pretty much going to cover why I am not playing Tree of Savior anymore and pretty much why all content has suddenly abrupted and just stopped. Now, the reason why I didn't make this video earlier is because, obviously, you know, just like being in a relationship, I consider games to be very precious. You don't know if you're fully done with the game, and you especially don't want to release a video like this unless you truly are done with the game. So, first off, I will state that there's nothing that they specifically did that made me quit or leave or stop. It's just the way I've seen the game progressing and things I dislike. So, for starters, I never played Ragnarok online. I always wanted to play it as a kid. My mom and dad did not allow me to play it. They said, you're too young, but your older sister can play it so you can watch her. And I did. Now, from what I remember from simple things in old school games, old school Korean MMOs, is you can grind wherever you want. In most areas, you can just go out to a field, you can grind. You can go to a dungeon, you can grind. You've got world boss farming. You know, and Tree of Savior has a few of these aspects. But what Tree of Savior lacks is the open world grinding. There are very few areas in the game you can actually grind, which is kind of a big deal. So first off, at the beginning of the game, there was extreme lag, right? So we do have to factor that into a big part, especially if, you know, part of this is my job, and I do want to be happy playing the game. I don't want to be frustrated at work, you know? I want to enjoy myself. So anyway, you had to battle lag. Now, lag is gone for the most part. It does still exist on a lot of servers, but for the most part, it's gone. Now you have to find a spot to grind. There are very few areas you can actually grind, and the problem with this is that most of the monsters are tied to the density of the players. Meaning if there's not high density of players, there's not high density of monsters. In theory, this sounds like a great idea because the more people you have, the more monsters you have. Except when you have builds that actually aren't half retarded and one-shot mobs, there is no way in hell that you can share the same farm spot. Now again, there are very specific areas where this works. There's like a bee farm you can go to, demon prison works, and there's a couple other areas. But these areas are all sought out for because they're the few areas you can actually grind in. All the other areas are kind of like you spend time looking for the monsters rather than fighting the monsters. And a lot of this has gotten much better as time has gone on because more players have come. But I still think it's stupid as hell to have to look for the monsters in a Korean grinding game where the whole theme of the game is grinding. You can't even do it. So that is kind of one of my issues with it. And of course, this is my opinion. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to bash the game. So one of the other things is the experience cards. The experience cards I'm kind of like iffy about. I don't really mind it so much, but it's just something to add on. Whereas the game is considered a grinding game, but you don't actually grind until level 150 or so. Which kind of makes it a little odd to me, because usually you quest for a little bit and then the grinding starts, but you really don't start grinding in Tree of Savior until about 150. It's just not efficient. There's no reason to do it. So, in fact, you are questing, going from questing hub to questing hub to questing hub, all the way up to 150, but the part I don't like about it is you literally have to follow these quests in a specific order that is not given to you, so you have to go look up on a guide because other people fucked up and they don't want you to fuck up. And then on top of fucking that up, you're not supposed to use the experience cards. There's a special method to clicking a button rather than actually doing it. And again, don't get me wrong, the idea and the concept is really cool, I just don't think it was executed properly. The last thing I want to bring up, which is, well, I mean, there's a couple others, but the last biggest thing, I guess, off the top of my head, is I don't care about how it's, you know, gated content to free-to-play players. To be honest, people should be paying for entertainment. I don't really give a shit about that. You know, sure, maybe they could have handled the non-trading thing in a better way, but I don't really care. The thing that I don't like is the skill descriptions. The skill descriptions in Tree of Savior are literally, I could teach my cat, Mini K, to how to type up a skill description that's better than it. So, like, conversion for Paladin was like, converts a target based off your spirit. Converted target is target. Max duration this. And it's just like, oh, it's cool, so I convert enemies. Well, the fucking skill doesn't tell you that when you convert an enemy, they move at 1% movement speed. Like, the mob literally can't even do anything. Which leads me to my next part of, like, fucking name the skills. Like, give us something. I know a lot of people like to figure out the math behind stuff. And I know that's a lot of fun, trying to figure out mathematically how a skill works. The problem with that is when you're playing Tree of Savior and you have, you know, hundreds of class combinations just per class, like per archer. You have hundreds of different combinations. You can't base your build off anything because you can't even base it off the skills because not all the skills make any sense. Like, not everything makes proper sense. And if you're basing something off that, like what happened to me, and it just fucks up, it's just like, oh, well, that was cool. Thanks for, you know, kind of semi-wasting 150 hours of my time. I don't mind the grind. I don't mind the way it's set out. These are just my personal opinions with them and why I don't really enjoy the game, per se. Does that make sense? Other than that, it was a lot of fun. You know, I love the controller support. I thought it was very cool. There's a lot of stuff I did like about the game. One of my last topics I want to bring up of dislikes would definitely be that I do feel the game is going towards a pay-to-win state. But that's it. It's not, in my opinion, the game is still fine how it is. It's just with the fact that they have given people dungeon reset scrolls kind of, you know, shows where the future of the game could be going, which is a very scary thought. But I was going to lead this on to the next one of skill animations. Skill animations in Tree of Savior and even hitboxes kind of, which goes with the skill animation, in my opinion, are awful. There are some skills that are very good, and then you have other skills that literally look like your character is like doing the robot, and it's like the skill doesn't even hit, it misses, it's clunky, it's like, what is happening? So these are some of my main things, again, as to why I really couldn't stick with the game. I guess you could say my last one, which is a super personal complaint, is I think, and this is totally just me. This is me. I know this is gonna argue and get some people mad, but I don't like the idea of linkers. I think that linkers as a class are way too dependent. I think that they should not label a game to make it so you can customize your character however you want, but you still require a linker if you want to do anything efficient. I think that's kind of silly. An example of how strong a linker is: Paladins have a skill called Turn Undead. When you use the skill, it hits in an AoE. It has a chance to proc and pretty much do the maximum health of a target if it's undead. So say a mob in a dungeon has, you know, 842,000 health. Most characters don't hit for 842,000. But if a linker has targets linked and you turn undead, it would hit all 16 and kill them pretty much. Like, there are these crazy hidden combinations, and the hidden combinations are cool. The hidden synergies, it's just, I feel like linkers should not be so mandatory. That's all. That's all. That's pretty much all I have to say. So, without further ado, this is pretty much going to be the final piece of content on the game. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. If you guys have any questions, please don't ask me anymore. I don't really know anything for Tree of Savior. All I read all day are comments of, "Excuse me, Mr. Pohx Kappa, I'm a level 187 dual-wield Corsair, and I've currently put an 82 intelligence into my character. What do you think I should do?" And I'm like, dude, I don't have a Corsair. I don't play casters. I don't even know what the fuck your class does. Like, I can't help you, man. I can't do it. If the game was a lot easier to get into, I could, you know, do the entire thing for you. But that's just not the case with Tree of Savior. I really cannot help you guys with anything. You know, I know my classes and I know my characters, and I know them up to the extent that I've played them, and that's it. I can't do anything else for you. You know, I never hit max level in Tree of Savior due to my own reasons and not wanting to play the game anymore. I can't help you. People have legit gotten mad at me. They're like, "I don't know why you're not helping me." And it's like, dude, I can't. I don't know what to tell you. Stop being dumb. Like, it's your character. Figure it out, you know? So that's pretty much going to be it. I don't know what other games we have coming up in, like, the anime genre theme. I guess on the topic of MapleStory, we may look at MapleStory 2. But for now, our horizons are pretty much staying the same. The Path of Exile launch for Prophecy will be coming out in a few weeks. Specifically 2 weeks, I think. Less than 2 weeks it'll be coming out. So that is actually where our next big jump is going to be. We've been playing Grim Dawn on the side and whatnot, and we'll see what happens, but we're definitely going back to Path of Exile. And we'll see, again, what other games decide to pop up on the horizon. So, without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Thank you so much if you were just here for Tree of Savior content. But again, this is the end of the Tree of Savior content. I'm sorry, boys. Have a good one, everybody, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care.